Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we'll talk about how money is created. So this is a Singapore Microcomputer Society talk, and then there's a disclaimer. See, all the contents are my own personal opinion. Okay, and I have no intention to offend anybody or country or businesses. Okay, I shall not be held responsible for any losses on your part for believing or not believing the contents. Okay, so we start with the early man. So early men, they go around hunting and gather food, and when they come back, they share together in a small or huge family. Is similar to apes or gorilla, chimpanzee, these type animals. They live in a group, so the adult will look after the young, the children, and so on. So this is in this type of environment, they do not need money. Whatever they can hunt or they gather, all the food are shared. Some will have more, some will have less. So there's no trading. So there's no need for money. So and they very soon they discover that if they can raid another family who is weaker or maybe has some resources, then they can get more. For example, if they have food, when it comes to the ability to rear animals or plant crops, then you realize that they have assets around that can be acquired if you can win or beat the other tribe. Then, as tribes form, they realize that if they can form tribes into a bigger tribe, then maybe you call it village or kampong or a civilization or whatever you call it, then they're bigger in bigger numbers. They have a better defense or better attack. They can raid other tribes or they can defend against people attacking them. So they can protect their produce, their people, and everything. So in this type of situation, they don't need money. So when then they need money? Only when they are large enough, such as empires. So if an empire, we don't need to be a very big, just like an empire is like a country, but it must be big enough so that there will be plenty of trade. So if you have plenty of trade, then you have plenty of goods. And you have plenty of goods, then it becomes confusing how you price the goods, how do you trade the goods. Because if you say one pig equals to 10 chicken, then how big is your pig? And how big is your chicken? You see, so it become difficult to calculate. So it's only they call barter trade only in perceived value. If you accept, okay lah, not enough, maybe 15 chicken, one pig. Then if the person accept, that's it lah, accept, then you take. But you if you buy one whole pig, how do you eat? As a small family, you don't eat one whole pig unless you are buying for a whole kampong. Then you barbecue, each one take one piece, and then you can buy one pig. Otherwise, you have to buy one piece of pig, one piece of it, maybe 1 kg or 100 gram or something like that. Then how do you value such thing? So in order to do that, they need this empire will have to create something called money. Okay, it's a form of measure for the value of goods. So somebody will decide. The market will decide. Okay, like okay, if everybody agree that one chicken is worth maybe 10 coin, then it's 10 coin. Then or one pig is worth 300 coin, and this pig is smaller, maybe 250 coin or something like that. So they will have a form of value which they can exchange in smaller components. Okay, so but also as good is for an empire, they will protect all their tribes against attack from each other. So in this scenario, the tribes don't need to defend themselves. Same like when you live in your house, you have the government to protect you in a way that there's a police, there's all these things. So people don't just walk into your house and rob your things. So because if you are empire, you have many families and maybe tribes. So it's not uh, easy to control them. So they need rules and all these resources to protect each other from within the tribes and outside the empire. So with all this protection, now they have more resources to think of other things. Maybe instead of hunting, gathering just food. Food is the most important because without food, the human will die. But when they have enough food, they have to think of other things like making a pottery, making jewelry, and if you are rich, they collect expensive items like jewelry and all these things. So it become an advanced culture with arts and things progress. So there was this myth that says Roman soldiers were paid in salt. But of course, this is not true. Okay, maybe some people will use a barter trade to say, okay, I use this salt to exchange for one chicken. So, but you can also use apple to exchange for chicken, or you can use your bow and arrow exchange for chicken. So you cannot measure one chicken equal to how many kg of salt or equal to how many arrows. So because these items are quite big, don't have a minute denomination, so it's very difficult to value each of these goods based on things like arrow apple, orange is quite difficult. But anyway, you will notice that Romans have their own currency, even the very old one, ancient one, like in stone. So they polish a stone like this type of stone. So to make this stone is also they also need effort. Of course, you see the stone like that, you also can make your own. So you can create your own money, but you have to spend time doing it. So you spend the time doing it, okay, now you created money, you earn the money. You can use it as the money, and people won't know it's fake or not. Because basically, it doesn't matter. See. You make one, they accept it, and the whole society accept it, then it become a currency. Of course, the emperor will commission people to produce these type of things. Then it become a currency. They pay people to work on it. So the effort put in has a value. So this is the value measured in number of coins in terms in the material like a stone. And then when in later years they discover metal like gold silver, so they make it money in from metal like gold and silver. So these are non-corrosive, so they will last very long. So if you have the gold, you can mold it similar shape. You also can make your own currency. Of course, it is known as counterfeit currency, but it is not much of a problem because the material is gold, and gold has value. So whether it's fake or not, it still has value. So the person who make these coins has to put in effort and value. So this coin has a certain value. He has to put in resources to produce a coin. So coins itself has values. And then the market will decide, okay, how many pieces of silver or gold is can be used to exchange a chicken, a pig, or maybe a kg of pork. Okay, so we will go into um, some short demo. Okay, we have for example, we have a bank. So in the early years, how they created money. So let's say the government, let's say like the government, like in Singapore, when we become independent, then we want our own uh, currency. So what to do is we, if we before independence, you'll find that sometimes we use in the early years we use currency from like Straits settlement, all this coin, or Malaysia currency, Malaysia ringgit or Straits settlement or whatever. So the government can say, okay, you exchange your material with us, we give you the new currency. So how the government create this is you they can just print. Let's say the government just print. Okay, the government just create. So the government created money. Okay, so how the government created the money, they pass to the, let's say, the central bank, some control body lah, because they the government is not doing all this giving out money business. Then the bank will tell, the central bank will ask the small bank, okay, you give me one stack of the old currency, I give you the stack of new currency. That means you give me one whole stack, two, I give you two. Or you give me one gold bar, okay, I can create some more. I create, then I give you some more. Okay, so bank has money already. And then for ordinary people, they take the old currency, they give to the bank, and then the bank give them the new currency. And the bank will exchange. And now we find that we are now having all the new currency. The old currency all will be eliminated. The gold will be kept. So all this will be gone. Okay, so now everybody has money. So let's say if we want to buy something, okay, this person wanted to buy an item, let's say a car. So this person has a car. Okay, now I sell you my car. But before I can sell you the car, you must pay me the money. So he has some money, he pay. then he pay him the money. But if not enough, how? So this person will go to the bank and take a loan. Okay, the loan is actually an IOU. So he told the bank, okay, I owe you some money. It's a loan. You lend me some money. So now the bank has this thing called IOU. So with this money, he give it to this seller, and now he can have the car. Okay, so money move around. So, but we will find that the government also need to spend money. So when the government need to spend money, then it has to produce money. But the government cannot just with in the past, the government can just print money up to them. Nobody control. But in the modern world, every country don't like this idea of own self print money, no control. Then they won't trust you. Same like Venezuela and Zimbabwe, they just print money without any backing or some sort. So people will say, hey, like that, no meaning. You just take a piece of paper, you print money, and then you will become, you have all the money to spend. Then what's the point of earning your paper money? So the bank came out with, or the government came out with this thing called bond. Okay, bond. So the government issue a bond. Okay, they have one bond. Okay, this bond, who wants to buy? So a person can buy. So that this person he buy, he give the money to buy the bond, and then he keep the bond, which has a period, let's say 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, whatever years are. Okay, so with this bond exchange with money, now the government got money to spend. So now this government need to pay workers salary. Okay, for example, so he pay the worker salary. So the government run out of money already. Then he got to issue some more bond. So in this manner, the government become unstable, because every time when he need to issue I owe you, then end up everybody got so many I owe you. Eventually, this person will have to return the IOU. Then the government has no more money to pay him back. So now how? Okay, let's say the government create an IOU one more time. Create one more of this bond, and you find that nobody want to buy the bond, or not enough people want to buy your bond. Then how? The government need to spend money. So this central bank, or say in US you can call Federal Reserve, you just anyhow call. You can call central bank or bank authority or monetary authority or whatever you call that. It doesn't matter by the name. So there's this somebody who is under the government control, more or less. Okay, he will need to raise some money, but how? He cannot find money by himself. So he will call quantitative easing. Okay, so he create this one. He create money by himself. So this like Federal Reserve, he created money from, they call it quantitative easing. So with this money, he can buy the bond. Okay, now the government got money to spend. And let's say this one say, oh, my bond mature, I want to return the bond, exchange for money. Okay, so he return, and then he get back his money. of course with some interest. So now this bond can be deleted already. So the government is back to normal. But you find that this central bank have a lot of bonds. Eventually, it will be swarmed with bonds. How to eliminate this? So the government has to have a certain way, like a taxation. So you say, okay, I tax you because you are a rich man, I tax you. So he takes some money back. And then this central bank can return the bond, it give you back the money. Okay. So the quantitative easing, okay, now he can destroy the money. So back to normal. So the purpose of the government is to collect money, okay, in the form of taxes. You can call it anything, call it taxes, levy, GST, licensing, all sorts of things. Whatever you can name it, all just a name only. The main thing is collect money back from the public. So, but you cannot collect everything back. You collect everything back means nobody has money. Then nobody has money, then nobody can buy anything. Okay. One good thing is if there's a lot of money floating around, then people will feel rich and then they just anyhow buy things. So there will be a lot of money floating around. So it's like banana money. They call it banana money. It's during the Japanese occupation, the Japanese just print money with a banana tree behind, the picture of banana tree. So they call it banana money. So you if the government just anyhow print money, then it will have no more value because people will soon realize that it's very risky to accept this type of banana money. And if they don't accept, and then more and more people dare not accept because they worry, and you will end up that they will demand more in terms of banana money because they worry tomorrow. Now he take, tomorrow he cannot let go, so your price is higher. So then that's called inflation. So everything will go higher. Then every day, today you get your salary, you keep it. 1 week later, you find you can buy less things because the value drop because nobody trusts this money anymore. So the government must always create something that appear to be trustworthy. That's why they say, oh, there's a third party, it's a central bank that's holding it, not the government. Government don't anyhow print money. The government issue bond. Okay, so and of course, in Singapore we have a CPF saving, so government can use a CPF saving. So it is you can borrow from the CPF. So you don't need to issue bonds in this sense. Okay, but of course you collect CPF money and use it, you still got to pay back. Because when everybody start withdrawing, then you must print the money to pay back. Okay. So the most important item here is that this money, if it's not floating around, it will be safe. It is okay if the money don't float around. If it stay in your bank account, or it stay under your pillow, or in your private collection, like Zhan Han always buy money and then as a collection, or you buy the $20 souvenir. So those notes, they are for souvenir. People buy it and keep at home. So if I issue $100 million of this souvenir, or 10 million, let's say $10 million of this money, I call it for souvenir. Then everybody will queue up in the bank and they start buying. And because it's limited edition, the next day they find that the value go up. somebody offer higher price. So when you say, hey, my $20 bill, now people offer $22. I can sell for $22. And if somebody bought it at $22, do you think he will spend this $20 bill over face value $20? When he paid $22 and then he go and spend it, he only get $20 worth. So he will not spend it, he will keep it, hoping the value will go up. Same for those who have this $20 bill. He saw people selling at $24, then he will not use it, he keep. So whoever bought the notes, most likely they keep it or they sell it, and the buyer who hold the souvenir limited edition $20 note will keep it, so it will not be in circulation. They keep it under the pillow, in the cupboard, in the safe. It's okay. The government got the money already. So the government can become richer lah. He make the money, but people just keep the paper, so there's no inflationary pressure. Okay, so now is what if, let's say I buy a car, okay, and then I took a loan over this side. So now if we start everything from here, let's say without confusing everybody, assuming we start like that. Okay, we start in this manner. So this person will buy a car. Okay, so this person sell the car. Okay, but this IOU also doesn't exist. Okay, so I want to buy a car, I sell you the car. Then he pay me part of the money, and then he go to the bank and say, I owe you, I take a loan. The bank give him a loan. And then with this loan, he pay this person. So now he own a car. So this person is very rich. Now he got a lot of money. So what he do, he deposit in the bank. After selling the car, he deposit the money in bank. So you find that the car is transacted, but the money doesn't appear in the market. So it has no inflationary pressure. It doesn't flood the market with money. Because once he sold the car, he parked in the bank. So nothing wrong. As long as there are not a lot of money floating around, then the value of the money will be higher. Okay, so let's say now this bank now has the money and the IOU. So the IOU is equivalent to one stack. So when he has money, he return the bank. The bank return him the IOU, and then it's gone. So no count. So if the person want to take a loan from the bank, okay, and assuming the bank has not much money, okay, the bank don't have a lot of cash. There's always a limited number of cash. Assuming in this case. So if this case, if I if this person will buy a car or we change it to a house, which is more expensive. So now you want to buy a house, but this house requires a lot of money. So you don't have money. So how? So you will call this bank will borrow money from, say, a central bank. The central bank, no problem. They can always create money. So create money. Okay, central bank can always have money, but this money is backed by this IOU. So there is a there's a it's not a inflation. It's not like printing money. It's different because now I have this IOU. So this is backed by an asset IOU. It's not printing money in the air. So the bank send IOU, then the central bank, let's say, give him the money. So now he has the money, and this person want to borrow the money from this to buy this house. So he will send the IOU, and then the bank will give him the 3 step of money, which he can give to him to exchange for a house. So he got a house. So after he received the money from the house, then the bank will deposit the money in the bank. Okay. So of course the bank will give him an IOU. So he has a bank statement say, oh, the bank owe me money. And then the bank has this. The bank can return this money and clear this. So nothing goes wrong. But you notice that the bank can do a transaction without much money because he can always borrow the money from a central bank. Okay, if you are not a bank, then you want to borrow money is very difficult. So now this IOU is for the house, which this person owe him lah. So we put it here. So the bank can return this, get back this. But now the bank, if okay, now we have another scenario. Okay, now this bank return this money, and then this IOU return back to the bank, which is destroyed. So the bank now have asset IOU, and he also owe the bank. So, but the bank is earning interest from the house and paying interest to this fella much lower interest. So in the net result is the bank will gain money. But these two IOU will cancel out eventually. If he want to return money, then the bank got to refund him. So assuming another person come into the picture. Okay, now this person want to buy this house. Okay, so he also take a loan from the bank. So he will, and So when you give the house to him, this fella will go to the bank. Okay, the bank may not have money, so he can either take from the central bank again, borrow, exchange, or the bank can create a do create its own credit line, such that if okay, let's say the bank issue him a credit, a check. Okay, issue him a check. Okay, this check given to him to buy the house. So now this person got a house, this person got a check, and then the bank has no money to lend out also, and this check eventually gets deposited into the bank, and then the bank issue him an IOU. So now he happy because he has a bank account in the bank. He sold the house. He has this bank account that the bank owe him the money, and the bank take the check. Of course, the before when he before he issue the check to him, this fella has to take a loan from the bank. So this person has a IOU with the bank. So now the bank can clear this check. So now this person owe the bank an IOU, and the bank owe this person a check IOU. Okay, now the bank earn interest from this person who borrow money from the bank, and the bank will pay this person interest for depositing money in the bank. Of course, the interest here may be 1% or 0.5%. The interest here may be 3%. So the bank will net earn 2%. Okay, the funny thing here is that the bank has no money. In this case, the bank has no money. Even you can take away this. The bank has no money, but yet you can perform all these things. Okay, so let's say we redo this thing. Okay, and we make a bit more complicated. Now we have two banks. Okay, now this house, we go back to him. You don't give him money. Don't need to confuse so many. So now he wants to buy a house. Okay, so this one also we can eliminate already. We come up with new story. So he want to buy a house. So you ask the bank for a loan. Okay. So now he give the bank an IOU, and then the bank issue him a check. Or not actually check lah, cashier order lah, if you want to make it more precise. So with this cashier order, he give it to him, and then the house belongs to him. And this person will take the cashier order, deposit. If he deposit in the same bank, then no problem. This bank has no money, no need to money. If he deposit in the same bank, and then the bank just issue an IOU to him in the bank statement. So now the bank has no money no money change hand, and yet the bank is earning interest. Okay, so you notice that this person buy a house, and then he owe the bank, and this cashier order come in, and then the bank give him an I owe you. So the amount of money that change hand is the same. So the bank is actually making a profit. So suppose it's more complicated. If cashier order go to this bank, so now this bank has to give him I owe you. But now this bank say, I take the cashier order, I must cash out, but this is from the other bank. So now he said, I give you this cashier order. How? I give you this cashier order. Then this bank said, okay, no problem. I give you and I owe you. So now this bank give you I owe you, and this cashier order go back to this bank. So now the bank owe bank. So it's just like a family. So the transaction can carry on, and then without money. So you find that a bank maybe has a capital of say 100 million, and he can give loans of maybe a billion and so on without having so much money, because he has this thing called I owe you, I give you or I take a loan, I give you money for your loan, you bank in, then the bank owe each other, and of course they cancel out each other. So if later this person say, oh, I also want to buy a house, so he buy a house from him, and he will get a cashier order from this bank, let's say this bank. So this bank will give him the cashier order, and then he will pay him the cashier order, then he get the house. Okay, when he get the cashier order, then there'll be an IOU created for him. Now this cashier order received by this person, okay, and he will deposit with the bank, and now the bank will give him an IOU, and now the bank say, I owe you, you owe me, okay lah, these two we can cancel out, okay, contra out. So the bank don't owe each other money. So it's a very strange happening. So the bank just contract each other, and then they are happy, and as long as the balance is the unbalance is not too great, it cannot be one bank owing the other bank billions of dollars, and then the other bank will be worried that you run away or you bankrupt, then you cannot pay back. Then how the bank got to absorb all the losses? So for small amount, they are fine. But in large number, let's say we talk about 3,000 properties a month sold. So you find that in, let's say in Singapore, we have the big five, let's say five bank, the top five bank will take most of the housing loan. So if you have 3,000 divided by 5, you have 600 loans and 600 IOU. So the bank will definitely have issue a cashier order out, and then receiving cashier order from another bank. So in the end, the bank internally, they can contra each other out. But they don't need a lot of money. So money is actually credit. The more credit the bank give out, the more profit they make. So this is also something very counterintuitive. If if the bank is making more money by giving credit, then how you can imagine how can such a thing work when the bank don't have money and they can give you credit? It's because one bank has a working relationship with another bank, or they you can say, oh, the bank trusts each other. So if you, let's say you borrow from DBS to buy a house, and then the seller deposit the money in DBS, so there's no money exchange. It's just a cashier order that come out from DBS and go back to DBS. So no difference. So if you buy from you get a loan from DBS, and then you issue the cashier order to the seller, and the seller bank into OCBC, and then another seller take a loan from OCBC, and then he received the cashier order, he bank it to DBS. So DBS say, I received a cashier order from OCBC. OCBC say, I received a cashier order from DBS. So the two fella will laugh at each other. Okay, let's contra out. I don't need to transfer to you. You don't need to transfer to me. Assuming the value is the same, the value is different, just contra. I send you the difference. But imagine if you have 3,000, or now it's less. Sometimes you have Singapore, you have 5,000 properties sold. But now maybe 3,000. If you include HDB and private, you have 3,000 properties every month. So from this 3,000, you have 600 of this transaction. Surely you will even out, more or less. So you left a small fraction of differences that they can settle themselves. So they can't settle, they borrow money. They borrow from the central bank to offset the difference. So you find that the credit is a very important factor in this thing called money. So you notice that the banks are actually creating their own money in this sense. They call it credit. Okay. So now we can do other example. Okay, if for layman, if he has the money, then he pay his worker. He pay his worker for the work done. Then this worker will use this money, he go and spend it. Come the picture will disappear. Oh, the machine crash.
So there is financial crisis. Your machine crash.
Not machine crash, the software, this Adobe very often crash. Okay. Okay, now if you find that no, this one I don't have the person already, and I can always insert. Okay, so this, if you notice that if the money is circulated within the among the individuals, then there's no problem in appreciation or depreciation, because it is always within the within the same environment. Okay, but you will get inflation if there too much money floating around trying to buy things that are limited. For example, let's say in a crisis, then everybody want to buy food, and then they will all rush, and then the food price will go up, or everybody need to buy masks, and then the price of the mask will go up. So this type of thing is also due to opportunists, businessmen who are opportunistic. They will find all means to find a way to cash out cash out all this, make a higher profit margin. Okay, so if the money change hand from one person to another person, then everything will be fine. So now is, let's say if we let's say we talk about US, let's say US want to sell the bond. Okay, say this is the government of US. Okay, so US sell a bond. He issue a bond. Does anybody want to buy this bond? So the public can buy. Okay, this person can buy, assuming he has money. Okay, he has money, but there are also many bonds, a lot of bonds. So he may not buy all the bond now, because he may want to issue $100 million worth of bond, and this person won't buy all. He buy only 100,000 or whatever. So he give the treasury the money. They give him a bond. This bond can claim back many years later, and then another bank, say, okay, I also have money. You also have money. So I give the US government money, and you have to give a bond. No problem. So Now the US government has a lot of money. So what he do is they will spend the money. You can spend it domestically, building infrastructure, pay workers, pay government staff, pay politicians, pay whatever thing lah. Or he can spend the money buying weapons and fight in another country, or for defense, for any other purpose. So when he use the money, okay, say the US will use the money to pay him, pay him in exchange for the goods, okay, better sounding than weapon. So so this person or this company now has a lot of money. So what he does is he will put the money in the bank. Okay, and the bank very happy, issue IOU. So now this money with the bank is can be exchanged with this IOU. So everything has debit credit, debit credit. There's balance and there's control. So this is correct. So there's no such thing as anyhow print money. That's what they mean lah. Because if you anyhow print money, then your money has no value. But this one is not. They give you a bond. They say they'll pay you back. But you notice that if there are a lot of this IOU, and then the bank will have a lot of this money, then what happen? So eventually, the bank will use this money to buy shares. So if the money all floating around, the bank can't do anything unless the bank can loan out money. So they start those property bubble. So that is one of the things that bank can use the money for, because you must understand bank use money not in terms of thousand or hundred. They need money in millions or billions. So the bigger the value or bigger item is better. Otherwise the bank has a lot of paperwork. If you give loan in small amount, 100, 200, so it's better to give loan like buy a house and all these things. So anyway, because this money sitting here doesn't make money, and the bank also lose money because you got to pay interest. So the bank must maximize the money, and then he give out loan. So when he give out loan, okay, so this person want to take a loan. So he give the bank, I owe you, the bank give him a loan. So he has the money, then he spend. Then how is he going to spend? Whether the money is spent locally or overseas. So then it will cost the amount of dollar floating around in the market. So that can be bad for the currency. The best is they are all left inside the bank. So no money floating around. And you notice that the super rich with billions of dollars in asset, they can't spend a lot of money if they go to a restaurant to eat or watch a movie or even drive a car around, buy petrol. They won't spend billions. The only way they can spend billions is either buying properties. Properties only millions only. The easiest to spend is to buy stocks and shares. So the bank will also buy shares. Okay. The bank buy shares, and this money go to a company that sells shares. Okay, let's say this is another company. This is a CEO of this company. So the bank will get the share from this company. The bank pay money to this person. And this person has a lot of money now. What he does, he will take this money and put back into the bank. And then the bank will give him an I owe you again. Now the bank has the money back. So the bank says, what, crazy. I want to get rid of my money, and now the money come back to me. So now the bank will take this money and buy some more shares. Okay. So he give, let's say buy something, and then the bank got another group of shares. And this person, they have a lot of money. Then what he do? He also can buy shares. So eventually this money must land on somebody's hand physically. But you see, if they are billionaire or multi-millionaire, where do you think they can keep the money? They cannot keep under the pillow. Maybe they camouflage the money as a bed, into a bed, so people don't notice it. Then they sleep on the money. If you have $1 billion, what are you going to do? Or even like recently, if Elon Musk paid 44 billion to buy the shares of Twitter, and those shareholders will all together they receive 44 billion, what are they going to do with the money? So these people now is cash rich. What are they going to do? So they will use the money to invest in other companies, buy other shares. So eventually somebody must hold the money. So you notice that this money is trying to go back to the bank. So there's this pressure by the bank to get rid of this money so that they can create earn interest or whatever. So when one of the item that is property, although property nobody transact $1 billion like buy shares like that, but property is something that is plentiful, and you pay 100,000, 200,000 buy property, it's very easy. So the bank will push all this money out as loan, because when they get rid of this money, it will take a long time for repayment. They earn interest over a long period, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So they don't need to worry for the next 30 years. They get the money installment and all these things. So the bank pressure the salespeople to give out loans. So once the bank has given out the loan, and then the bank realized that now I have so much loan, and every time I give out the loan, the fella who sold the property, he earned the money, he put back into the bank. So it's crazy. Every time I give a loan, I got rid of my money, it come back to the bank. Of course, there are plentiful, there are many banks, but eventually the money will still come back to the top few banks or the most popular bank within the country. Like in Singapore, you have DBS, UOB, OCBC. So, but some people will still go Standard Chart or Maybank or whatever. But most people take loan from DBS, UOB, and OCBC, majority. So you find that every time they get rid of the money will somehow find its way back into a bank. So the bank said, okay, let's force the salespeople to do more sales of this loan. So the salespeople say, okay, then the bank say, okay, now we give you more commission. Or then the salespeople happier. Okay, I sell more. Then the and then the buyer of the property found that after I bought the property, 3 months later, wow, I can sell at a profit. So I will sell the property. I then I cash out. I cash out. I make a profit. And then the next person who buy, he realized that another 3 months later, he also can cash out and make money. So everybody start thinking, hey, we can make money by just buying the property and then hold for a few months and resell it and make money. So everybody start buying, and then the property price keep going up, going up. This one is called property bubble. So the bank also, they are clever already. They say, oh, something is wrong. If everybody keep buying property, the property price keep going up. If the property price don't go up, who want to buy? Maybe buy for your own stay. But people who buy 5 properties, 6 property, or even 10 properties, they are not going to stay in all the 10. And rent out also may not be easy, because if they want to rent out, is okay, if they want to rent out the property, there must be a lot of tenant. But often when the property is overbuilt, there's not enough tenant. So unless your business keep growing, more businesses coming in, and then you need more people to employ more people, then you need more spaces, more rooms, more houses, then the property value will be stable. But now the property value is going up because of speculation. People got this mentality that I buy, a few months later I can sell and make a profit. And when I make a profit, I say, wow, I kick my own backside. Say, why did I sell this property? I should have sold 10 of these instead of just one. Those who make money will always regret they are not making more. Nobody is ever happy in making money. They always regret that they did not take the opportunity to make more. So and and when the bank realize that there are a lot of loans going out, and they know that these salespeople, they just keep selling, so they have this problem of default. If the people don't pay the money, the property become a bad loan. Bad loan, you got to foreclosure. The bank got to seize the property and auction out. And the bank will say, if I auction, I will not get back my principal because the property was overvalued. So how? Because if the bank cannot keep sitting on it, because they know that all this will be gone. So they very clever. They just securitize it. Say, okay, this is a scheme. Uh, Very easy. The bank will give out loan secured by properties, and then you just buy into this uh, scheme. So they group this, they say this 100 properties under this this group of scheme. So the rule is, now the bank selling you all these things. If the property make money, you will get the money. The bank will take a small cut, a percentage for administrative fee or whatever fee, commission or whatever you call it. But if the property default, is your loss, not the bank loss. So the bank very easy. They just group all these IOU into one and sell it. So you realize that by doing so, when there's a foreclosure, the bank are not affected. It says, oh, because no money flow. The bank have only all this IOU, nothing. So the bank don't actually suffer. It's only the Gundu who bought all these securitized like Layman brother bond, mini bond. Mini bond is not a bond, it's the company called mini bond. So the Layman brother is a bit stupid. They go and buy all these things, and then they all this become bad debt. So they got to close shop. The same for some New Zealand banks, not New Zealand, Iceland bank. They go and buy all these things. They thought very easy money. They can make 5%, and then they give depositor say 4% or 3% interest. So depositor happy, right? I just deposit money, I get 3% back. And the bank take this 3%, take this money and buy into all these type of securitized, all these products. They have a name now. Then the bank make 5% and then keep 2%, give you 3%, you happy, the bank happy. But once default die, the bank got no more money to pay you back your principal, because you put in deposit, let's say a fixed deposit, then the bank got to honor, but the bank can't because the bank got no more money. And those banks in US, they are not affected because they already securitized all these loans. So they already collected back all the money. You get what I mean? So they are selling all the IOU. So this way, the government don't have to print so much money. It's the bank that is creating all this credit that causing a lot of problem. So the government will always have measures to ensure that the bank can comply, like by telling them how much money you can loan out, how much money you have in your deposit, then you can loan how much all this. But sometimes it's quite difficult because all these loans are secured loans because they are backed by an asset. So it doesn't reflect in the account statement that, oh, we are in bad debt. We are not, because your asset and your liability balance you whatever you loan out, you have a property there secure. Okay, so that's property. Now if you go back to shares, so you find that shares is the easiest for the bank to invest the money in the share and then earn money while the bank give you an IOU. So you notice that in US the shares keep going up and up. It's because banks has too much money, and all those shareholders who own big companies, they cash out. When someone buy the share, somebody got to sell. The person who sell, if it's a person, he would have cash out. If it's a company that sell the share, then the company will have a lot of this cash. Then somehow he has to take the money and put somewhere. So now if the shares are being bought at this high rate, then you find that the share price keep going up. And the US president like Trump is very happy to see share price going up because he take it as a sign of a healthy economy. Because if the economy is healthy, your company is doing well, of course your share value go up. That is okay. If your company is doing well, then your value of share will go up. But it is not okay if your share is going up because banks are flooded with money and they try to get rid of them and they start buying your own shares. So the symptom is the same. The share value keep going up, but actually it is the banks that are driving it up, not the profitability of the company or the company doing very well. So this is share inflation. So once the share inflated and the shareholder has all this money in the pocket, the shareholder will start to divest it and maybe buy into properties or land or whatever they have, a large item. So the share price going up, eventually it will become property prices will also go up because the rich are becoming richer because the share price are going up and up. So the property price will also go up because if you are so rich, flooded with cash, you are not so careful or you don't bother to negotiate so much. You just buy the property, big or small, you just buy it and hold it, or just buy big swap of land. So in this case, you notice that the property prices will follow the share prices. Of course, there's a delay. So property price will go up. Once property prices keep going up, then it affect the layman already. The layman will buy only the cheaper properties and they look, why this property is so expensive? Because it's very big and luxurious property. And then they will extrapolate downwards. Say, okay, if this property is 50 million, my property should be 500,000. So the cheap property will go up from 100,000 to 500,000. Then everybody down the line will, even they own small properties, cheap one, the price will also go up. Once the property prices keep going up, then there will come a time when the middle class, those middle income people, they find that the property prices also went up and they can cash out. Once they start cashing out, then they are flooded with cash already. And then the inflation will reach out to the other items already, cars, then eventually will go down to the grocery, commodities, and so on. Then everything will go up, keep going up. So that's inflation already. So the first sign is share prices keep going up. Okay. So if you go up, let's say we look at other scenario, or if you have other scenario you want to discuss. Okay, so let's say the government. Okay, we have two government, let's say. Two different government. So this government issue a bond, and then this government will get the bank. Okay, so the bank can, let's say, an overseas country, he has to he has to find a way, okay, to take this their own currency to buy US dollar, for example, is okay. So here's a exchange. Okay, I give you my currency, you give me your currency. Now I use this currency, buy the bond, I get the bond. Now the government have money to spend. Easy, so it's very easy to government to raise money, just issue bond. Okay, but now this one may not be that good. Now this money is in the bank, and this bank will want to get rid of this money. So what happened is this country also say, I also want to issue bond. They say, okay, just nice, I have this money, I give you, you give me the money back. You get money, so it created money. So now this country has money to spend. This country also have money to spend. So, and they have each other's bond. So it's very easy. You just collaborate with another company that, okay, I issue bond, you issue bond. You buy from me, I buy from you. Finish. I can create $1 trillion, you can create $1 trillion. We just exchange each other. Then my bond, the money I receive is backed by the bond I issue. The other country receive the money also backed by the bond they produce. So the country have a lot of money to spend. So assuming this country spend already, the money is gone. This one also spend already, money is also gone. So now they need some more money. So how? Okay, so he issue bond again. Okay. So now the bank say, oh, I don't have money already. How? Because the bank use the money already. So I don't have money. So the bank say, never mind. He borrow from the central bank. Okay, so the central bank, let's say he borrow from the central bank, and then this one also borrow from the bank. But now it's different kind. This one buy this one. So the bank, now if this bank locally buy, that'll be easy lah. The bank buy, and then this one, so it's own self buy own self. So now the government got money to spend. So if this government own self own bank buy, that means, for example, like Singapore produce a bond, and then our DBS buy our bond, and then that's it. Very easy. So there's still it's a secure transaction because it's a bond by the government. Government don't collapse, and the bank has the money, but the bank don't have money. Then how? The bank will borrow from the central bank. The central bank just print money, and then he get the IOU from the bank. So the bank has money and buy the bond. So the country own self can create their own bond. Because this may not be very good. This way may not look very good. Because it's appear that, hey, your own bank buying your own bond. So let's say we change the whole scenario again. So now this one issue bond, this one issue bond, these two countries issue bond. Now this bank will need a foreign currency, so he will borrow from the foreign country, or the some central bank. You have the currency of choice. So same thing, this one can borrow from this alternate country. So they just issue a IOU lah. So I owe you someone here. So they all have IOU, and they all have the money. So the bank just issue here, get a bond, buy this and get a bond. So now you is more stable now, because now you say, oh, this bond is not bought by my own bank, it's bought by the foreign bank. So it's not own self buy own self, or own self provide bond, but actually is they either they collaborate or just coincidence. So you'll find that the both country will need each other. If the other country collapse, the currency collapse, mine also collapse, and the other country currency don't collapse, I just create this cycle again. Every year I have free money. I can run into debt. It's okay. See, the only problem in the future is that the whole world will be flooded with all these notes, all this money. But money is not flooded in a way like is in terms of paper money. It's just a number inside a computer, debit, credit, this type of thing, a number inside a computer. And this number is transferred from one bank to another bank. Of course, there are checks and balances so that the bank cannot own self enter a zero behind. If you have a own database, of course you can go and edit and put a few zero, and then you become super rich. You can, but there's this banking control, so it's so strong that you cannot just add a zero into your database and then claim that you have so much money. So will the US government afraid that nobody buy the bond? No, because as long as he can find another country who also need to sell bond, you can always work together. I buy yours, you buy mine. So both also benefit, and both will get the raise the amount of money, and then it will be happy, make everybody happy. And then when people keep buying your bond, your value of your money will always be stable. It's there. So it's very difficult to devalue the US dollar, because they always can find people buying the bond. If nobody buy, the Federal Reserve will buy. And how the Federal Reserve buy is they get money from quantitative easing. Means they borrow the future money to buy the bond. And that's not deficit. That is because it's backed by a bond. So is considered secure. So it's okay. So the whole world works around like that. So I shall end my discussion here. Then we shall stop the share.